walked toward the ritual circle that lay 200 feet away. Even from ground level, it looked like a monstrous, unblinking black eye staring up toward heaven. He'd made it after building the burial shelf, using only a hoe, a shovel, and a few ragged memories. The hoe had worked well for marking out the 300-foot circumference and for clearing the swamp grass, vines, and bramble from its surface. Once the black earth lay naked, save for a few earthworms, he'd used the shovel to dig the inside of the circle to a 3-inch depth. The memories were the only tools that gave him problems. When he was a boy, Olm's grandfather had told him stories about how the Pawnee, especially the Skiddy, used annual sacrifices to ensure bountiful harvests on land and water. He told how they danced the ghost dance, pleading with Terawa, the god of the spirit world, for the return of their dead ancestors so the tribe would be strengthened by their collective wisdom and, of course, how a son offered up the bones of his dead father. So many stories, but all of them told so long ago, the details of the rituals were hazy and overlapped. Once again, Olm took the route of improvisation, trusting that he'd be granted dispensation since his father hadn't bothered to teach him much more than how to chug 12-ounce bottles of Budweiser without belching. At the northern perimeter of the circle sat a small wire mesh cage Olm had brought along with his father's body. Inside the cage lay a fat nutria, which he'd captured a week ago and had been caring for since. The rodent appeared mesmerized, small black eyes locked onto the fire. It didn't even twitch as Olm approached. Once beside the cage, Olm pulled a buck knife out of the back pocket of his jeans, opened it, and flicked his thumb over the 6-inch blade. Confident it was sharp enough, he leaned over, stuck the blade into the ground, then righted himself and began to undress. He couldn't remember a time when he felt more excited. Just thinking about the new life that lay ahead made him giddy, almost lightheaded. No more being laughed at or the brunt of anyone's joke. After tonight, he'd harvest money, women, knowledge, and strength in abundance. He'd finally be the one to have the last laugh. Wearing nothing but goose flesh and a smile, Olm squatted, opened the back of the cage, and quickly pulled the nutria out by its tail. He held the squealing, writhing rodent at arm's length, pulled the knife out of the ground with his free hand, then stood and stepped into the circle. After he reached the center of the circle, he glanced over at the burial shelf. The fire was receding. His father's bones were exposed. It was time. Olm faced west, lifted his arms high above his head, and shouted, "Tirawa!" The nutria clawed and bit at his forearm, but he ignored the pain, concentrating instead on the few Pawnee words he'd learned from his grandfather, the ones that called upon Father Sun, Brother Moon, Mother Earth, Sister Water. He'd practiced for weeks, stringing the words together into a chant, reciting them over and over until they rolled off his tongue with little effort. The words might not have been the same as the ones used by his forefathers during their rituals, but surely these held enough power to gain an ear from the netherworld. With the nutria's teeth buried in his arm, its body twisting and slapping against him, Olm closed his eyes, pictured himself at the head of a tribe of thousands, and began to chant. Kiitsu sakuru po piete. Kiitsu sakuru po piete. Olm repeated the words again and again, louder each time, until his mind held nothing but the rhythm of the chant. His feet followed that rhythm, stomping the ground, first with his right foot, then with his left. A breeze kept time with him, as did the trees, their leaves rustling a soft percussion. Right, stomp. Left, stomp. Kitsu sakuru po. Right, left. Piete kitsu. Right, left, right, left, right, left. Circling, circling. Sakuru po piete. The vibration of the words ran through Olm's body, and his vision as leader grew sharper, clearer. It was then Olm opened